I must say, of all the speeches I heard, very interesting today is from Aini, Ketua Aini. She said she suspects or she alleged that MCMC is now working together with MECC in her particular case that she got caught in. I want to tell Aini one thing. Find out and look at this carefully. Who is the chairman of MCMC and who is the chairman, the Anti-Corruption Advisory Board of MECC? It's the same guy. I'll let Aini explain to you who that person is, and maybe that's the connection. But I'm not making any allegation. Yeah? I think we need to understand that we're not dealing with one agency. We could be dealing with a lot of agencies. We could be dealing with the government itself. And as a government MP, as an MP of PKR, of Kartel, the Prime Minister's Party, I'm happy to tell you, there are 10 of us. We are now effectively the opposition in the government. Because 3.5 months ago, we asked for the vote. We promised you reform. And when my own government does not carry out up to the standards that the people deserve better, that I may say we deserve better, it is our duty as members of parliament in the government to keep them honest, to put pressure on them to do the right reforms. Recently, in parliament, we lost the vote, the 2/3 majority vote for the 10-year of the government and of the Prime Minister limit. I can tell you all 10 of us supported that. Yeah? But it was a total mistake on the part of the administration not to count before the vote. But for the Attorney General and the Public Prosecutor's separation of powers, we are against it because it is not good enough. You deserve better. So on that ground, I can tell you now, the 10 of us will hold our ground and will ensure the government do the right thing to amend the right laws, and then it is truly for the betterment of the country we will support. Let's talk about Azam Baki tonight. Let me give you some basic facts. Azam Baki, Sri Azam Baki, you've got to get the title, right? He was appointed as the MECC head in March of 2020 by the then Prime Minister Sri Muhyiddin. Yeah? Remember this very well. Because a few years later, Sri Muhyiddin got charged for corruption. Azam Baki carries a lot of controversies. There are 3 stages of this controversy. The first one, some of you know, but few of us simply know about this, was in 2015, December 2015. Azam Baki was a senior officer in MECC. He and a few officials went to Saudi or met a Saudi prince or Saudi official, looked at some papers, and then certified and said, we are convinced or we are satisfied there is no case against Prime Minister Najib. That the money came from the prince of Saudi Arabia, 2.6 billion. That is the Azam Baki quality that we have. Okay? Many years later, of course, they backtracked. But at that crucial moment in December 2015, when we could have done more, we could have stopped the 1MDB from becoming a big scandal, Azam Baki had a hand in it, and that didn't work out for us. Second controversy, as pointed out by many of you, including Ahmed just now, in 2021, an investigative journalist named Lalita Kunaratna, a brave reporter, provided a very detailed 2-set report on Azam Baki, who had shares in companies. The one mentioned is, of course, Get Global and Excel Force. And, of course, the whole saga goes, everybody read about it, the Edge published it, everybody talked about it, and then they spin around and say, oh, my brother, I was holding the accounts for my brother, or my brother used an account. I'm just a nominee for him. Yeah? Remember this. That was in 2021. What happened? None of us believed it. The Prime Minister, Rafizi, myself, all the leaders of the DAP and Amana went on the ground on January 22 and protested and asked for Azam Baki to undo. We asked for an RCI. We did everything that was right back then. The third controversy is of course recently by Bloomberg, February 2026. A very, very detailed report. And of course, Bloomberg, they will not write anything unless they have many multiple sources that are proven, that are steady, that we can believe it. And Bloomberg is not a small newspaper. Yeah, they're read by the world leaders, they're read by all the business community. Rafizi reads it, I read it. These allegations link Azam Baki to a person called Andy Lim. Right? Again, all about shares, but more importantly, the second report, they talk about corporate mafia. The basic allegation is Azam Baki or MACC was working with a few businessmen to take over companies. So the corporate mafia allegation essentially links Andy Lim to him. Then Andy Lim himself is linked to Victor Chin. You all have read about Victor Chin. Then there are links of Victor Chin to Fahash. Fahash links to Bestingan Aminul Islam. And the latest saga just 2 weeks ago, 1 week ago, Victor Chin calls Aminul Islam the real corporate mafia. All these are not my saying, these are all reported. You can read it, including in the Edge, Bloomberg, and all the serious papers are talking about this. Therefore, these three major controversies should be enough to tell you that Azam Baki, especially in the latest round, must take a garden leave, which is what the 10 PPR MPs said to the government. He must take garden leave, and there must be an RCI for this. Yeah? These serious allegations not only shows that we don't have the will to do things, but also tarnishes the image, the promises of Pakatan Harapan to you. I want to say this. Whatever happens, right? We have these three controversial things that he's done, and nothing is being done to make sure Azam Baki is fully investigated. His contract is coming up for renewal. They have to announce something by 13th of May next month. Usually they have to announce 2 weeks ahead, right? So by the end of this month, latest, they will announce something. I want to remind a few things to my Prime Minister, who renewed his contract 3 times. Do not renew the 4th time, please. Okay? And this is a very, very important point I want to make. If you renew it for another year, okay, and then you call a snap election, say in July, and the Prime Minister loses, he has to be very careful going forward. Because when Azam Baki was appointed by Muhyiddin lost power, what happened? Azam Baki investigated Muhyiddin, ended up Muhyiddin being charged. Correct? When Ismail Sabri protected him during the scandal, the share scandal, and he said his brother used his account, what happened to Ismail Sabri? They raided his office, got a few 100 million, 160 million, I think, yeah, in 2025. If the Prime Minister appoints Azam Baki for the whole year, calls the election in July, loses power, he's not going to have a lot of nights to sleep on. He might be worried because Azam Baki will serve the next Prime Minister, correct? He might go after his friends, he might go after anybody linked to him. And he got so many friends who are linked to this issue. Another point I want to stress is this. There's a lot of talk. Azam Baki is eyeing for 6 more months. Can we give him 6 more months? No! Right? Another story that came out, he's seeking a senatorship. Do you want to give him a senatorship? No! I tell you what, my advice to the Prime Minister just now, don't renew and don't call for a past election. My advice to Azam Baki, prove that the people love you, come to my constituency of Subang and fight me as a member of parliament. Don't seek a senatorship. Don't fight that. I invite you to come to parliament. Come to Subang or go to Pandan, challenge your meeting. Show the people how much we love you as a a great hero that the Prime Minister worship as a brave man. Show yourself. One last point. As you know, I'm in the news a bit about this I-Hitam land development. I don't envy my Menteri Besar of Selangor. He has a lot of questions to answer. He has been stonewalling my office for a long time. Said all these little guys like Brian, or I don't know who he is, questioning me, but why I don't do an FOI? For God's sake, please grow up, okay? But he said something yesterday. The Menteri Besar said something. He said, if these MPs or leaders like Rafizi and others, I suppose it means me and Nick and a few others, right? If we do not believe in the party struggle anymore, move on. I am 110% sure the PKR party struggle has nothing to do with protecting Azam Baki, correct? So, go back and find out what the party struggle is, my dear Menteri Besar, and come and talk to us properly, because I believe many of you have forgotten what the real party struggles are. The real party struggles for Pakta Harapan and PKR is to fight for the people, to fight for transparency, and to fight for accountability. That is my speech for you tonight. Hidup rakyat!